This is Mark from Cycling Maven, and this is the St Kilda Kermesse on the 8th of March 2015. Racing at the Albert Park Formula 1 circuit, so just the north side of the track. So we're kicking out of the east corner now up to 1200 watts. And so it's a bit of a hot dog Kermesse, and what I mean by that is it's an up and back course, and at each end you've got a U-turn. 4.2 kilometre long circuit. So the hard part, I suppose, is kicking out of those corners up to 50-60 kilometres an hour, pushing 1200 watts and hurting the legs. But you've got plenty of time to recover in between. So I'll try not chang on in this movie too much. We'll play some tunes, and when there's some good bits, I'll try to explain what's going on. So there's Rico Rogers, number 115 or 113 there in the black and white kit. He's currently racing for African Wildlife Safari team. I don't know why he's not wearing the kit, but he's a very good sprinter, 36 years old, and in the twilight of his career, but still very fast, I can assure you. Now you can see we're all over to the left here, and all the boys on the right hand side are moving up, and as soon as we all move to the right, people move up on the left. So in a big bunch like this, the guys are always looking for gaps to move closer to the front. Again, coming out of those turns is probably the hardest part of this whole bike race. So you want to be up the front as you come through the turns, and that way you're not sort of chasing for the next 300 or 400 metres. So this is the west end of the course. There's a few cones here that the guys clip. So I've seen many a crash because of those cones, but they're necessary obviously for the race. So kicking up to 550 watts here. And the bunch is fairly strung out now. Some guys are taxi. You can see we're strung out, pretty much single file. Someone's put the hammer down a bit. And this happens all throughout the race. You get a lot of guys jumping off the front, especially the teams, because there's 4 or 5 riders from a team. They send one guy up the road just to see how things go, and the rest of the teams bring it back. And so it's that accordion effect. We're constantly, stringing out and then coming back together. Very tight corner. You don't want to pedal through this and then kick up to 1000 watts out of the corner. We didn't go too hard out of that corner, but as I said, this is the hardest part of the whole bike race. The rest of it's just sitting in, and especially a guy like me. I mean, I've got no team I'm riding for, so there's no point doing turns. Even if I found myself on the front, there's no way I'd be pushing on the pedals, because there's no point. I'm not trying to bring anyone back, and I hope you understand what I mean. So this, just quickly with this, you can see how long the bunch is. So I'm second wheel here, and the guys at the back are only just coming around the bend, and so we're 300 metres up the road. And so I don't understand why guys would sit at the back of a bunch on a course like this. You really have to be up the front, as close to the front as possible. And that means looking for opportunities at all times to move forward and stay forward. So you can see we're single file here. One of the African Wildlife boys attacks, and either Giant or Charter Mason will. So in upcoming videos, we've got a couple of special guests who I'll keep as a surprise at the moment. But a couple of experts who might be able to add some stuff and some tips and whatnot to these races. So that should be good. That'll be in the next couple of videos. Now I just wanted to quickly mention that this course, as I say, 4.2 kilometres long Kermesse hot dog circuit. So you're going through some sharp turns at either end and jumping out with a high power output and recovering for the next turn. It's not really that hard a course because, although it's a great course to race on, but it's not a hard bike racing course because there's a lot of guys trying to jump away constantly, and they kept being brought back by fresh guys. And, there's no hills in this course, so I think with a little bit of wind, a bit of a crosswind, a bit of a southerly blowing through here, it would have been an absolute game changer because crosswinds generally destroy bunches. That's where you get the echelons, little groups. So today it was just a beautiful still day, and I think that's what made the racing fast and kept it all together for a bunch of kick. So the bunch is strung out, now it's coming back together. So the first thing I think of when the bunch is coming back together like this is, how can I keep moving forward? I can't on the left-hand side, obviously, so you can see I'm edging my way over to the right. And all the other guys are thinking the same thing. So this is a constant, you've got to think about this in your races. This is a constant process of trying to move forward and not getting caught in the middle of the bunch. So there's Rico again. So I know he's a good sprinter and he's a very experienced bike rider. So you can see he's always near the front, and it's good if you're a beginner to look at guys who have won in previous weeks in bunch sprints or just generally good bike riders and see where they sit in the bunch, and you can learn a lot from people around you in your, whether you D grade, C grade, whatever. So yeah, I mean, that's how I learnt a lot of the little tricks through cycling over the years. So we've just caught and overtaken C grade. We've got two separate races happening on this course at the same time. And you can see there, he just gives him a little push forward. I mean, I love that stuff. It's awesome. Just keeping check of each other, just letting each other know where we are. And again, the guy on the right here, he doesn't need to try and chop the other guy. It's all about just letting each other know where we are, so that we don't bring the bunch down. And you can see we're really close. It sort of changes from D grade as the grades go up. You get closer and closer, and these guys, are they spend a lot of time on the bike. Very experienced bike riders, and they're completely comfortable with being this close to each other. It's not even a thought. So you can see Rico went hard on the brakes there, and we all managed to stay upright. Maybe if that was in the lower grades, it'd be a different story. But I think the more time you spend on the bike, the more you develop these skills, especially if you're racing. So that's why, if you're in Melbourne, for example, get down to St Kilda and Caulfield Carnegie, or even Hawthorn, Footscray, and jump on board with one of the clubs. And they've all got some fantastic groups and support there to help you learn how to race. So we're getting down to the business end of the bike race now. I'm pretty sure this is the second last lap. So I'm caught on the far left-hand side as all the guys move on the right-hand side, steadily making up places. We're not going real fast here, so the guys making up places on the right-hand side are doing it easy, as opposed to if this bunch was single file right now and someone had attacked. You know, that is just not the time to be making up places. You just sit on the wheel until the bunch comes back together. Incidentally, if there's anything in particular you want to talk about, or you want tips on, or you want some advice on, just leave some questions in either the YouTube comments or whatever forum you like, or message me or email me, or even go through the blog, and we'll try and include them next time, and we'll include your name, so even through Twitter. And because at the moment I'm just making it up as I go, and obviously just sharing some of the stuff that I think is pertinent, but some of that stuff may not be relevant to you. One thing about cycling is they look as though they're doing it easy at the moment, but it's certainly not easy. It's definitely, I suppose it is sitting back here in the bunch as opposed to sitting on the front, but it's always a lot harder in real life compared to watching it on television, that's for sure. So a few people have asked me how I've got permission to use the GoPros. You've got to go through Cycling Victoria, which is obviously, if you're from outside of Australia, it's a state in Australia, governing body. So you need to go get a permit, just so they know that you're safely mounting them, etc. And they know who are using the cameras and putting the footage online. And then you obviously have to get approval from the actual club itself. So 2 levels of approval. And once that's all done, you can mount a camera on your bike. And you can see in the bunch here, there's a few boys with GoPros and whatnot mounted on their bikes. So we're coming down to the business end of the bike race here. We're coming into the final lap as far as I know from memory. And the boys are starting to get a bit twitchy. They're really starting to push up now. Flying along 51k an hour. I think this is the bell lap. Yeah, it is. So you can see the commissaire on the right just here ringing the bell, and that's it. We're holding on for dear life now. So I'm on the right hand side as usual. This is what I do, right or left, and just try to maintain a decent position. In all honesty, this is my first A-grade race with St Kilda for about 5 years, so there was no way I was going to be contending anything other than 20th place. But it was nice to be up there. So 1,000 watts out of that corner. That's probably the highest wattage we've seen since the early stages of the bike race. So they're really starting to push on the pedals now. And 48k an hour isn't the best time to be moving forward, but had to do it. So I'm getting the heart rate up now, 175. My max heart rate's 183, so I'm sort of hurting a bit. And this is when you can start to do clumsy things. You'll see up here, last lap, I did something really stupid. Overlap my wheel, and you can't really help it in bunches like this. I mean, overlapping wheels is pretty much standard, but you'll see right here, I get pinched from the right. Bang. And I was very, very lucky to keep that upright. So I've broken a spoke, severe buckle in the wheel, and that's the end of my bike race. So that could have been a lot worse, but we're all okay. And I've just thought, stuff it, I'm going to just get back to the start-finish line and watch the end of the bike race. So here's the finish. So Shannon Johnson jumps out of the bunch in this kick and absolutely puts daylight between him and Rico Rogers, and third place was Massimo Gracio from AWS. So you can see here, he's throwing the arms in the air. I actually messaged him on Instagram later, and he sent me a picture of his Garmin, and he maxed, I mean, you can see he's absolutely put daylight there. So he maxed out at 1612 watts, I think it was. There it is there, 1613. So he says his max is normally 1700, but he's only been doing 6 hours a week on the bike lately because of work. So good on to him, awesome effort, and I'm sure we'll see him pick up a few more. So anyway, look, if you like these videos, please like and subscribe on YouTube, and I hope to do a few more, and hopefully next time we can get someone to help with the tips and go from there.